can't see. Hello. Welcome back to another episode of the No One Asked for This podcast. Episode 10.
10.
Double digits. Look at us go. This week, we wanted to do things a little bit differently. I wanted to bring on my beautiful pre-wife, Rania.
Hello.
And we wanted to answer a couple of the questions that you all sent in. We get, when we go live, I feel like we have thousands of people just randomly asking questions. And we realize that if we just put most of the most common ones together and answer them in one podcast,
it'll be easier for everyone.
Yeah, you won't feel the need to be asking questions over and over again.
So some disclaimers really quick. I have never been on a podcast before.
That's ridiculous to me because you've been on camera so many times.
Yeah, but never for an hour plus.
Yeah, I was going to say, because most people already know this. Rania is a writer, editor, and interviewer for Billboard magazine. So she's done Grammy shows and sit-down interviews, and she's written thousands of articles about artists, but it's never been for an hour.
It's never been for an hour, and I've never been the subject of the interview.
But it's kind of nice.
I guess so, yeah. Other disclaimers, I am morbidly ill.
You got to give him the whole play-by-play. Give him the whole thing you told me earlier.
I'm pissed, actually. I'm really upset about how the series of events have been unfolding.
It's been a while.
A month ago. Let's throw this back to when it was basically still summertime. I woke up with unexplained muscle pain.
It was weird.
In my legs.
Yeah.
In my arms. So it was just so much muscle pain, and we were trying to say that it was the changing season. We were trying to find a reason why my muscles would randomly hurt.
Yeah.
And then 3 days after that, I wake up with a fever. Unexplained fever.
Bad one too.
A bad one. Shivering. Can't get through the day. That lasts 4 or 5 days. We're okay, surely that was it.
Yeah.
Then a cough comes on.
Yeah.
And we're okay, excellent. A cough. It's going around. Whatever. It'll go away in a week. It's been 3 weeks. I am still coughing.
I've been saying it's on the way out for literally a month now.
We go to the urgent care. I get the steroids. I get the decongestants. I get everything. And then after all of that, so all the decongestions.
All the medications.
All the medication. I'm starting to feel a little better. I'm the cough is starting to go away.
Mm-hmm.
The past 4 days, I have had the worst sinus congestion I've ever had in my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
I feel I'm at level final boss, level 100 on this endless bronchitis whatever journey that I'm on.
Yeah,
so,
you've been very brave.
All that to say, if I sound a little congested, it's because I can't breathe.
Yeah, so be nice.
And don't judge me for being a mouth breather, because I cannot breathe through my nose.
You should have seen her earlier. She sounded like she was underwater earlier. It's been bad.
I am so much Mucinex in the system right now.
Lots of Mucinex, so much water, steam showers and all this. It's nothing has really helped.
I just want to be able to breathe.
Yeah.
Little things you take for granted when you're healthy.
But we all are making an agreement right now that we're not going to make fun of Rania, even if she sounds like Frank Gallagher.
Yeah, I promise my voice is not always this nasally.
It's like you went through puberty.
I sound like Squidward.
You got... Now it's all I'm going to hear. That's the problem, is that now it's the only thing that I'm going to hear. Okay, so basically, when we first reached out about this, I put a question on my Instagram story that said, what are some things you guys want advice about? I would go so far as to say we are capable of giving good advice.
I think so.
I teacher for 5 years, dealt with a lot of friendships that were great. Some were horrible. I've been in a lot of relationships. Some were great. Some were horrible. Most of them were horrible up until this one. And then I don't know, just generally, I think from a male perspective, I have a good outlook on a lot of things. I think from a female perspective, you have a pretty fantastic outlook on things. It makes sense, right? We don't know everything, but I think that we can give enough of an understanding so that all the people that ask these questions, you definitely won't feel alone, and we'll see if we can't make it feel a little more human.
Yeah.
Yeah? Where do you want to start off?
Well, we have all the questions written here that you guys sent in. I mean, I think we should just keep it kind of simple first.
Yeah.
How did we meet? Because some people keep asking that once.
Literally, even when I asked this question, like when I asked the thing on Instagram and people started posting, what, 15, 20 different people asked how we met?
Yeah, and I feel like, to be fair, we have answered it a few times, but...
Yeah, that's fair.
And it's not that crazy. I think that's the other thing, is that the story is not that crazy.
Yeah, everybody thinks I like found you in a castle. And
No,
walked away.
it's really just that we had my best friend, her boyfriend knows Tyler, and they introduced us. That's literally what happened. Like,
I will say though, there is something that I kind of love about our story, because when I first heard of Rania, it was when Taylor and Julia, Rania's friend, they were visiting me in Boston, and I remember seeing a picture of Julia with Rania. And I remember saying to myself and saying to them, I was like, she is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. The very first thing I said, I was like, that's my wife. I was like, that's my wife. And Julia was like, okay, well, she's taken. Like, she's taken. She's like doing her own thing. And I was like, I don't care. That's my wife. So then, like, as a little bit of time would go by, like, she and Julia would FaceTime all of the time. And Julie was staying with me, with Taylor and I, for a little bit. And whenever they'd get on a FaceTime call, I would just like kind of walk in and take the phone.
right.
And be like, oh, you're talking to my wife? Great. And I'd just walk away with the phone.
It was like one of those things that we always had a joke that at the beginning of our relationship, that you like masterminded me, like that Taylor Swift song Mastermind.
No,
like
Siri, play Mastermind by Taylor Swift. Yeah.
Manifested.
It's kind of crazy. And I would say to anybody out there, any guy out there or girl out there that's like, that girl is significantly out of my league. You're right, but try anyway.
No, that's not true.
Just give it a whirl. You never know what's going to happen.
That is also another thing I want to talk about.
Oh, boy.
All the comments that I get about like, oh, how did he get you? Or like, whatever.
How did Mr. J bag a baddie?
That, to me, doesn't make any sense, because you have so much to offer and you are so special and like important and lovable in so many ways. And so I just want to nip that in the bud, because like no one deserves love more than he does. You know what I mean? If anything, I bagged you.
I am going to respectfully allow you to have that opinion. And you can have that opinion all you want, but I swear to God, we walk around and I feel like I'm like a Make-A-Wish kid who asked for a Greek girl. It's the craziest thing. But all that to say, some of the questions we're going to answer right now are something to the tune of like, how do I get them to like me? What do I do if I like someone? What should I say if I'm in this situation? And 9 times out of 10, and we'll get more into it, don't sweat it, 9 times out of 10, it's say it.
Yeah.
Like, pursue the thing that you want to pursue and then deal with the repercussions as they come along.
Because also, nothing is that deep, you know?
Exactly.
Like,
life is way too short to not do the things you want to do.
Like, yeah, rejection hurts. Yeah, you know, things can be awkward, whatever, but it passes. Nothing
100%.
is that serious.
No, I think everything sucks for a minute when things go south, but it's like the pain doesn't last. Nothing lasts. Nothing ever lasts.
Also, you are not going to remember that person that rejected you. You're not even going to remember their name.
100%.
Like in 5-10 years, you're not even going to think about that person. Trust me.
I've tried to think of all the people that have denied me
That's
recently.
what I'm saying. Who?
I don't think it's so much like, you're right, you're not going to remember who it is, but I think the problem is I also just have a horrendous memory.
That's also an option.
Or just like let yourself forget about it. It happens. And I mean, for me, I don't remember what I had for breakfast, but for you, you got to just let it go.
Okay. So
all right. The first question of the night.
Okay. Well, this is kind of like maybe goes into the how we met thing, but it's like the relationship thing.
Sure.
How to tell if someone likes you. Because this is a very nuanced question.
I think that when you're growing up, we're surrounded with these like depictions of what it should look like when you start liking someone and what it should look like when they start liking you.
Or what it means to like flirt with someone or have someone flirt with you.
100%. And I think that what people mistake is the fact that like it's almost never like this perfect 50-50. Everyone feels exactly the same way. And it's just like beautiful butterflies. A lot of the time, getting to the nitty gritty of a relationship comes with work and it comes with communication. You gotta do something, right?
Yeah.
I think, and I'll use Rania for example, like I didn't know Rania liked me until a good amount of time after we very first got introduced to each other.
Yeah.
But I think the thing that I did right that a lot of people need to do is just like be consistent and make your interest so clear. Just keep it low stress. If you complicate things by being like wishy washy and unclear about how you feel, it makes the other person's position a little bit more difficult. And it just ultimately makes the whole situation take a lot longer than it needs to. I think if you're direct, you're well on your way to figuring things out much more clearly.
Yeah. I think that's great advice. But also the question was how to tell if someone likes you, not how to show someone you like them.
God damn it.
I feel like it's hard to say like, oh, you'll just know. But a lot of times you will feel the energy that they want to spend extra time with you, or they want to talk to you. They want to make you laugh. Like when they tell a joke or whatever, they'll look at you to see what your reaction is. They'll give you compliments. They'll things like that, like I don't believe in the thing that it's like, oh, they make fun, they're mean to you because they like you. If someone's mean to you, what kind of, I feel like that's an immature person, even if that's the
100%.
case.
I agree.
Anyway, but you'll know. And even if you don't know and you think this person might like you, ask.
Yeah.
Like, even if you ask in like kind of a funny, flirty way, like my move that I used to do in college all the time, be like, do you like me? Like, I would like make a joke about it or whatever. And I feel like,
and I would have melted.
but
Yeah.
it's a quick way for them to be like, yeah or no, or like whatever. It's a cute, funny.
Do you like me? No.
Well, but or at least you'll get an answer. Be like, well, I mean, aren't we good friends? Like, so they'll give you the answer you're looking for. You know what I mean?
And I think something that's worth mentioning is like, there's this idea that like if he wanted to, he would. I think that you need to watch out for what someone decides to do and when they decide to go the extra mile to show that they care about you. For example, when Rania and I started talking, she was on the other side of the country. And I think the thing is that it's like, to a lot of people, that would have been a situation where we just call it what it is and say that it's like right person, wrong time. But I think the difference is that when something is right and you know that it feels right, or at least you know that you want to pursue it so that you know if it's right, you'll do that extra step. You'll take the flights. You'll be on FaceTime. Rania and I used to FaceTime for like
hours.
Literally like 6 or 7 hours a day.
Well, because also effort is bare minimum. Like, I'm sorry.
100%.
Were we talking about the, oh, if he wanted to, he would. If he wanted to show effort, he would. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's bare minimum. If he wants to treat you like a human being, he would.
100%.
And anyone who wouldn't treat you like that is not someone you should even think about.
Yeah. And I think in a weird way, it's like, it also goes in the reverse where it's like
also,
a lot of...
Sorry.
Go ahead.
One last thing.
Please.
Anyone that you're hung up about is not your last hope. Like, I think that's the thing where I think people... I don't know. I remember being devastated when I was younger over some random guy that I haven't even thought about in a decade, and being like, oh my God, how am I ever going to love again? Like, no one's ever going to love me. That's just not true. It's not true. And I started dating Tyler when I was 28 years old. You know what I mean? So it's never too late. It's just never too late to find the person that you want to be with for the rest of your life. The guy that rejects you when you're 21 is not your last hope. Trust me. You know what I mean? Like, you'll find someone else.
Yeah, 100%.
And you deserve to be treated well. Like, set that boundary. Have that standard for yourself. Know that you deserve better and you will find better. Like, I always say this, I would rather die happily alone than be with someone who doesn't care about me. Like, I'd literally rather be by myself.
100%.
And I feel like that is the mindset that has helped me, like, find someone that actually does treat me well, is because I really will not settle for less. Like, 100%. If you won't treat me well, someone else will. You know what I mean?
100%. And that actually kind of leads me into what I was going to say, is that it's like, in the same way that like when a person likes you, they'll make it really obvious. When you're with someone and like the spark's out, or they're clearly taking you for granted and not being what they need to be, like, it's gonna be completely obvious. Like it's not going to be a secret. You're going to see the way that they're acting and you're going to know in the back of your mind, you're like, that's not the way I should be treated.
Yeah.
I want everyone in the world to know you can do better. If you think you need to do better, or you think for a second that this person could be acting better, you have two choices. You got to get the person to act better, or you got to go find better. Because you deserve to be happy, and it exists. Like 100%.
Also, when you love each other, you just treat each other well. Like, I don't understand this thing where it's like, he loves me, so he like treats me like garbage. Like, it's stupid.
No, and I think that there's like a part of me that believes that a part of life is going through crappy relationships, and it's pretty unavoidable. Like you're gonna be in situations.
It's part of life, and it's important to learn and grow through those, because I think in crappy relationships, you find out what you don't want in the future and what you do want, you know?
But the problem is that when you're in that situation, you think that there's like no way out, or you're like a bad person, or that person's never going to get over you. You're not a bad person for choosing you, ever, and prioritizing you. Because the fact is, like, you came into this world by yourself, you're going to go out of it just as strong by yourself. That other point of like, are you a bad person for getting out of a relationship? No. Like, ultimately, in the long run, you're going to be doing that person a favor because you don't want to sit around and not be happy. They don't even realize that they don't want to sit around and be unhappy. You know, you're doing them a favor by being the mature person and being like, listen, either you're going to get your act together or I'm going to go get my act together with someone else.
Yeah. And I think it also is worth saying that if you are in a very difficult situation, it is understandable that, you know, it's not easy to leave a relationship like that, and there are a lot of resources for you. If you are in a really difficult situation, please reach out to a hotline. There are so many resources, so many places to help you leave this situation and get yourself into a safe, healthy environment. Okay, like that's very much worth saying. Like, I think what we're talking about excludes like the really serious situations where there are other things to help you. You know what I mean? Like, make sure you do get out of that situation. I know it's hard, but you will be okay. You'll be fine. I just don't want anyone to think that we're like making it seem like it's so easy to get out of those types of situations.
No, and I also want to let everyone know, like, or just like for the sake of credibility, like this like difficult situation that we're talking about, that you might be experiencing bad actions by somebody and it might be hurting you. I've been in that type of situation.
Yeah.
You know, like legitimately I've been in that type of situation. When I was in that type of situation, I'm going to say it how it is. Like it's unlikely for a man to be in a situation where they're the victim of that thing happening. I was in that, and when I was dealing with that, it was what kept going through my mind was like,
with a nightmare woman. Sorry. Anyway,
you know, in my mind, I was like, she wouldn't do that if she was sober, that she was just drinking a lot, or like she only did it because I did something that pushed her to do that. And what I wasn't able to tell myself is that regardless of why it happens, it shouldn't be happening.
Yeah.
100%. Top to bottom, no exclusions. It should never, ever be happening. Okay. So we all know what we're talking about here. I can't say it, but if you're in that situation, first off, I'm not going to pretend I know exactly what your situation is or exactly how you're feeling because it's different in every case. But I've been in a similar situation and it sucks. But ultimately, you're going to find yourself in a place where you feel ready to step away from it. And it'll be the best change that you ever make in your entire life.
I need a tissue.
You need a tissue? Rania, entertain the people. Okay.
We're back. I had to blow my nose.
I could talk about anything for any amount of time. We're going to start getting right to it because you all sent in questions and I want to get to as many as we can.
There were a few that Laura sent in that I really liked. They were cute, fun questions for a change of pace.
Sure.
There's some similarities between us.
I mean, I think one of the first things we have in common is that we both really enjoy laughing. And I think that is very similar across the board. But I've said this to Rania, and I genuinely don't think that she believes me when I say it, but like, she's so goddamn funny. Like, there is no need for her to be as funny as she is. And I've never been in a relationship where I laugh so deeply for so long and so often. It's amazing. So I love that you also, like, one of the similarities that we have is that we both enjoy like stupid situations where we're both laughing.
I agree. I think our humor is pretty similar.
100%.
I think we also both really care about the people people that we love in our lives, like
100%.
really deeply. Like I think we have similar values. We both love our like friends and family very deeply. But like back to the humor thing is like it's so funny whenever you say that about me being funny because I've just never felt that way.
That
Like
you're funny?
yeah, like I know that I'm funny, but I think in my life I've always been around people like you or like my brother who are so like outwardly funny, you know what I mean? Like so for everyone, their humor. Like
Well, her brother's also like a severe extrovert, and
yeah.
it just like extroverted people are made out to be funnier than they actually are.
I think that's the thing is that I think I'm more like understated or it's a little more I don't know. It's
Like
just
subtle.
it's a different type of
Yeah.
humor. So I never thought I was like that funny because I feel like I've always been in situations where someone else was considered funnier or
But
something.
also think about how hard your brother laughs every time you guys are together.
It's true.
Like he has that like howl laugh
Yeah.
when you guys are together.
Yeah, it's true. It's
And I think it's like she and her brother are they're so funny together. Like the other day, and I hope that you're okay with me telling this. Like, so we went to her parents' house in Long Island, and her brother was already there. Was Caroline there?
not last time.
No, she wasn't there last time. And I love when we get to hang out with him because he's amazing. I've said this
so
before. I
funny.
said this to Rania, and I genuinely believe this. That if Rania and I hadn't met through our like friends, I genuinely think that I would have ended up becoming friends with her brother, and then I would have met her through her
He's
brother.
the best person in the whole world.
He's this kid. Oh my god. While we're here, go follow crab.www on Instagram because that's his account and it's his band and they're awesome.
Yeah.
But back to my story. Again, ADHD. So we go to Long Island to see her family and her brother's like at the front door just like waiting for her to get there. And then they get out of the car do this like hilarious thing where they like got up at each other's faces and did like this like circle thing where they're like head to head and they're like batter ram like intimidating each other. And it was so funny because I don't think either of them like planned it.
No.
I don't think it's a thing that they do, but they're just like weird together in the best way. And in watching it, you're like, oh, that's what a brother and sister relationship is like. And theirs is just like the best one that I know.
I mean, I don't know, like it's two kids who used to be weird and now are adults and you know
And really
having
cool.
fun.
Yeah. Cool with great situations.
Favorite holiday? That's a good one.
I think that I need to like split up the holidays between like what's festive and what's fun. Because for me growing up, like my family didn't take holidays very seriously, but as I got older, I was able to like experience holidays in different situations. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a sucker for a good St. Patrick's Day. Okay? I friggin' love St. Patrick's Day. This is on the fun side.
Oh.
Like fun stuff. I love St. Patrick's Day. I love a 4th of July party, but I think that can you let me live? I like the feeling of one that's more festive far more than I ever will. Like one you go and get drunks for the whole time.
Favorite holiday.
That's we already talked about similarities. Now we're talking differences. But if we're talking festivities, I love Halloween. It's my birthday, and I just love seeing people go hard on like Halloween costumes and all this, which is perfect for us being together. Because if you haven't seen her Corpse Bride or the Corpse Bride that we did,
I love Halloween.
She
take
looked
Halloween
amazing.
Very seriously. Halloween is definitely my favorite.
Yep.
I don't love an America holiday. No offense.
Fair.
I don't know.
Completely
I just
fair.
feel like the red, white, and blue is not quite my vibe. I don't love like a beer and a boat. Like, I don't know. I feel
That's
like
the thing.
I'm
That
not,
I do. Yeah.
That's the thing. It's not a me.
Like
thing.
my vibe, if I have a beer and I'm on a boat and we might be fishing and it's nice out and I can swim.
Listen, I am down for a vibe. Obviously, I'm cool wherever. But it's like if you're gonna give me Christmas or listening to country music on a boat on the 4th of July, like I'm gonna go for Christmas. Let's be honest.
This is a good time to say, Zach Bryan, if you're watching this, we hate you.
I am his number one. I've always been. And
he's been a hater for a minute. I'm more recent.
A full podcast episode of like why I think Zach Bryan is a menace to society.
If you want a whole podcast episode on why Zach Bryan is a menace and should be canceled, let me know. Put it in the comments.
But all of that being said, I like Christmas, but also my family is different in that way. Like my family takes holidays very seriously.
Yeah, they go really hard.
I have a big family and we spend every holiday together and we have the best time. And so Christmas is so special to me because my whole life, Christmas was a time where I got to hang out with all my cousins and have fun and dance. And I don't know, and my birthday is around Christmas time too. So it's always just like a really happy time of year.
Yeah.
And like weirdly, Easter is like that in my family too.
Easter's mental for the Greeks.
Yeah, Easter's like the springtime Christmas, so I love that too.
Crazy.
Yeah, but Halloween and Christmas, I would say, are my top two.
It also helps that like Rania has like my family is very small. Like I have my immediate family, me, my mom, my dad, my brother. But then like our extended family, like my grandmother on my mom's side passed away when we were young. My grandfather remarried. That whole family we gained when he remarried is like the family that we call family now. It's like who we see Christmas and Thanksgiving and all this. But like the difference between our situations for like the bigger holidays like Thanksgiving and Christmas and Easter is I went to her Thanksgiving or especially Christmas, and there were 100 people.
Right.
So I wasn't expecting that. And naturally, if you put 100 Greeks in a household, something amazing is going to happen. It's just so much fun. So I guess like the caliper of like the celebration, it just looks different, you know, and both can be super fun. But this year is an extra amazing year because I get to do my holiday stuff early and then go to Rania's like entirely. So I'm really, really excited for that. And I love hanging out with her family.
Come kind of halfway through. Here's a good one. Okay, like we did some relationship questions. So Jamie asked a really good question I saw here about friendships, which I think we should touch on. Jamie said that her friend is being rude and disrespectful and how to handle that. And I don't know. I feel like I'm trying to say this nicely.
Just say it. You don't have to say it nicely.
Why would you want to be friends with someone like that? Like I don't know if I'm just simplifying everything, but I've gotten to the point in my life. I don't know if it's because I'm older and dangerously close to 30, but like I think I don't know. Like I think as you get older, you start realizing what matters and what doesn't. And that's like the main thing I learned in my 20s is that like life is too short to be around people who suck. It was something that actually at my graduation in college, the person said that was like giving the speech. They were like, life is too short to work with and to hang out with a-holes. And I think that's true. And like there are so many options for you. I think also it goes into the whole like abundance mindset. There are so many friends in this world that will love and appreciate you and treat you well. And there are so many jobs that will treat you well and pay you what you deserve and all that stuff. Like, I don't know. I just could not be friends with someone who's rude to me. Like,
no, I get that. And you're definitely right. I think that friendships, similarly to relationships, a lot of the times they start growing apart long before they actually end up ending. And long after the damage of those situations have kind of been done. The only thing that like I have an experience with a friend of mine from college, and this is like an olive branch I'm going to extend, is that she was one of the first people in my life, not the first, but one of the first in my life who I experienced being friends with someone who was going through like severe mental unwell.
This is different.
Very different.
This is a
100%
different situation because you also had a friend who was treating you very poorly for, I don't want to say no reason, but like it was unwarranted the way that Tyler was being treated in that situation. And it was absolutely necessary for that relationship to adjust.
Yeah, definitely. But I think that what I was trying to get at is like for Jamie, like for Jamie in the situation of like my friends being disrespectful, how should I handle it? All that I was going to add on to it is like, listen, if this is someone, is there something going on that you don't know about? Because mental health is a bitch.
That is true.
You know, and like a lot of
just assuming
100%.
that like,
it's just growing apart. And I want to like put out the fact that like, you're 100% right. If you're trying to talk to this person, be like, listen, you're my best friend. Okay. I love you more than you'll ever understand. I just want to make sure that your behavior recently isn't because of something that I can help you with. And if they see your like outreach as like disrespect or they like shoo it away, good. See ya. Addition by subtraction. Cut the bad fruit off the tree. You never have to worry about it again. Ranya's 1,000,000% right with that. But I am coming from an experience where this person really was not being understood and how deeply, deeply depressed they were. And part of the reason why we got so close was because I was one of the first people in her life who was like, yeah, you're going through it. You just yelled at me, but like, I'm going to be here when you're feeling a little bit better,
Yeah.
and then we can talk about it. And ultimately, transparently, like, I don't talk to that person anymore. And it's because she decided that she needed to be
That
like
was
doing
a
her own thing.
boundary that she set, which is
100%.
like, okay,
And she said that with all of her friends too.
exactly. Like sometimes, like to adjust my answer, because
Mhm.
you know what, like relationships in general are about communication.
Mhm.
And I saw another thing on here that was very similar, about like how to check in on a relationship from Not K,
Mhm.
and like making sure things are okay with your partner. And I feel like that could also go with friends, that just
100%.
making sure that the communication is open and
Mhm.
like making sure everybody's doing well. And I think in relationships and friendships across the board, communication is the most important thing.
Mhm.
Like checking in with your friend, with your partner, and being like, hey, like, how are you feeling today? Like, is everything good? How are things with your family? How are things with work, school, whatever?
Mhm.
Not only will that make you closer in
Mhm.
a lot of ways, even if, I mean, it could go one of two ways, like it could, if someone's not being open in their communication with you, it could obviously cause some issues. But
Mhm.
usually, when you do have open, flowing communication, it makes your relationship stronger.
It's true.
So, like, open up about things that you're going through with your friend, too. Like, that's also really important. And I think it establishes trust in the
100%.
relationship where you can talk about things and go through things together and come through on the other side together. Like,
Mhm.
my closest friends in my life that I've had for like 10 plus years at this point, I was so close with them. And not only because I just love them as people,
Mhm.
but because they were there for me through like some of the hardest moments of my life, And I think that and I was there for them in
Mhm.
some of their hardest moments of their lives too. And so we like have this bond
Mhm.
that can't be broken. It's like family at that point. And so
100%.
communication, I think, is the most important thing.
And I think like it's so funny that you said what you said in the order that you said it in, because something that I was going to say after is like everybody asks me like how I develop these like super strong connections with my students and how they are so trusting of me, and they come to me for things, and we're like so like that tight. And it's because very early on in the school year, every single year I tell them, I'm like, listen, I'm probably going to not be perfect every single day. Most days I'm not going to be perfect. Like I'm going to come in and I'm going to have my own mental stuff going on. And I'm going to come in and I'm just going to feel sad. But some days I'm going to come in, I'm going to be on 10. I'll be doing cartwheels down the hallway like whenever I see you guys. And the fact of the matter is that like in those moments, I'm going to ask you to be there for me. That doesn't mean you have to sit down and have a therapy session with me. What it means is I just need you to understand that like I'm going through something, and let's just like chill out for a minute. If you want to talk about it, I would love to talk about it. And I told him, I was like, if you can do that for me, I will always do that for you.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that the person's in need. It means that if they ever do need you, you're there. And those are
Exactly.
two very different things.
It's just
When it comes to
trust.
checking up on relationships, friendships, all of it, sometimes the best time to check up is when you don't think that there's much of a need. And just to remind the person that you love them, you're there for them, and whatever you two go through together, you're going through it together, you
And by
know?
expressing something that you're going through, because I've seen it bleeds into, well, you guys all had like very kind of similar questions.
Mm-hmm.
If someone mentioned feeling like a burden, you are not a burden
No.
for going through things. You're not a burden for having emotions, for having feelings, for having struggles.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone who thinks that of you is not someone who should be in your life.
That's
Like, you are so lovable and you
mm-hmm.
are so unconditionally lovable, and you deserve to be with someone that loves every aspect of you, because no one's perfect. And it's something I try to tell myself, because I really struggle deeply with feeling like a burden, with feeling unlovable, with feeling not good enough,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just a constant reminder that humans are so multifaceted and you deserve to be loved in every aspect of yourself. You are not a burden. So I understand feeling like one, but trust me, like, I know words sometimes don't mean anything, but you are not a burden for being human.
Yeah. And I think the thing is like those people who if you bring something up, like these people, I think the problem that we go through as humans is that we ask the right questions, right? We ask the right questions, we do the correct type of outreach, but we don't pay attention enough to the response of that outreach. We don't pay attention closely enough to how people respond when you reach out and you're like, listen, I need your help, right? I need your help because I'm going through this mentally. I need your help because I'm in a sticky situation in a relationship, anything. We don't pay close enough attention. If we reach out and we're like, listen, I'm going through it right now. I feel really sad. I've been like feeling this way for a little while. Can you just talk me through this? And they're like, I'm kind of busy. Like, can you talk to someone else? Take the goddamn hint.
Yeah, but also
Take the hint.
people also are busy. You know what
True.
I mean? Like, that is also okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's not personal to you. You know what I mean? Like, but it's also how they go about it. Like,
Exactly.
oh, I'm at work right now, but I could call you after and we
Thank
can talk
you.
about it.
That's
You know
exactly
what I mean?
what I
Like,
was trying to
that's
say.
the type of thing where you could tell us anyway, a long-winded answer to say that you are not a burden.
No.
You are not, and if someone makes you feel like that, bleeding into another question that
Mhm.
Ellie asked is how to cut off contact with someone,
Ellie,
that-
rip them up.
right? Like, that's someone that does not serve you.
Mhm.
And we have both been in situations where I think we had to cut contact with people that just
yeah.
were draining in our lives. And it was a big thing for me that happened kind of around my mid-20s, where I had to take a look at my friends and be like, who is important to me, who makes me feel good, and who doesn't, you
Mhm.
know? And it's a hard thing to do, to cut someone off. It really is. And I think it's a brave thing to do
Mm-hmm.
when a situation no longer serves you. I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like you could either communicate with that person that, this relationship is not serving me the way I would like to.
Mhm.
And I feel more comfortable kind of being more at arm's length with you. And if that doesn't work, honestly, just a good old block and no contact never hurt nobody.
See ya.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that it's like, I do believe in seeing things through until you can't, And I think that that's something that I don't want to speak for you, but I feel like it's pretty true is that
But
like,
I think if you're asking that question, you're probably at that point.
This isn't necessarily
Yeah.
to say like, no, stick around, but like, I think that when you're at your breaking
That's what
point.
I'm saying.
You know when you've busted your ass trying to, get at the same place with this person.
Yeah.
And if it's not happening, how long do you want to spend trying?
Right.
You're not going to be able to grow as an individual.
You can't change other people. You could only control how you react to a situation.
Exactly.
So,
She actually asked another really good question as tips for long distance relationships.
communication. I don't know. It's like all the same answer is communication. We talked about it a little earlier with like just staying in contact. I mean, on a more positive note, S. Blakely asked, how do you find the right friend? So kind of like on the other end of that spectrum.
I think something to consider is like, this almost reminds me of the conversation we had earlier where it was like, how do you know that somebody's acting right in a relationship? And I am a believer in like, if the person wanted to, they would. And I think that relationships hold a similar situation where it's like, you're going to come to find that your real friends are the ones that are still there after you have withstood the test, right? When you're going through something and that person's there for you, when they're going through something and you're still there for them, you're going to be there for each other, and there's going to be a reason for that. It might not be the most obvious reason, but you come to find that your friends are the ones who are still there. Like my closest friends, shout out Bobby, shout out Brian, shout out Mookie, shout out Cam, God, shout out Brendan.
It's worth noting that he has 17 friends. Like I have 4.
I have a lot of like hometown friends and then a lot of like new friends from college. But
I have 5 total friends.
You have more than 5 friends.
I actually literally have
Brian's
5
also
friends.
your friend too.
Yeah, that's true. But I'm saying like my
You're
friends,
like close knit. But I've come to find that like each of those people I just named, I've gone to them at a point where I was feeling very, very low and very, very vulnerable and very lost. And they've sat down, they've listened to me, they've given advice, and they've stayed. It's not just that conversation. Then, see you later. Also, obviously, shout out to my brother. Like, that's obviously more than just a friend. But, like, these are the people who, when you hand them this, like, disgusting platter of, like, feces that's your life at the moment, they're willing to look at it and be like, let's talk it through, right? And ultimately, like, you build off of each other. When you're going through it and you feel like you're at the end of your rope, that person's there for you. It's going to end up being cyclical. So you find that you found the right person almost at the same time that they do. And then it just blossoms from there. You're always going to be going through something. Whether or not you're able to have that like team around you is a whole different story.
On a lighter note, I mean, I don't know, just someone who lets you be yourself. Like,
100%.
something I struggled with a lot in middle school and high school is I didn't feel like anyone loved me for me, you know? Like, I didn't feel like I could be myself and goofy and silly and I don't know, emotional and all like the different facets of who I was. Like, I felt like I was playing a character
Mm.
to keep certain friends, and it's exhausting upkeeping, you know, a certain look
Mm-hmm.
to stay, I don't know, to have friends, to stay
Yeah.
cool or whatever. It definitely was not cool. But the friends that I ended up finding when I ended up going to college, my main goal was I needed to find friends that I love me for who I am 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And I got very lucky because I also have two best friends that I just grew up with. They're family members, but that's a little different.
Yeah.
But friends that I've made on my own, I guess, are like I don't know. Like, I just wanted them to love me for who I was, and I just don't want to feel bad for being who I am. Like
Mm-hmm.
for having interests, for liking things, the weird things that I like. I don't want friends that would make fun of me for it. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, I want to live freely, and everyone deserves to live freely and authentically.
Mm-hmm.
And you deserve to have friends who love you for who you are, like, plain and simple. Someone who makes fun of you for whatever interests you have, somebody who makes you feel bad for feeling a certain way. What kind of friend is that? It's not a friend.
No, not at
And
all.
so I just think that it's really important to just find people that you feel comfortable being you and someone you can laugh with and have fun with and sit in silence with and eat with. Like friendship is so beautiful and special, and it's one of the most incredible human experiences we have on this plane of existence, and it is not worth being friends with someone who doesn't make you feel like home and comfortable. I don't know.
100%. And I think like another thing to sort of build off of that is like, I think part of the reason why Rania and I developed as quickly as we did is because we both are just so open and accepting of each other. And we just like, we hype each other up for like all the things that we love. Like we'll do the blind boxes and everybody will be in the comments and they'll be like, it's so nice that he is like into your interests as well. And it's like,
That's what I want.
it should be simple.
Yeah.
It should be so simple because it's like it makes her happy, which means that it also makes me happy. And that's like
It's what you like.
exactly.
Let people like things. Okay, sorry, this is not even a question. But if you're bullying people for liking something, you are the worst type of person. And if you are being bullied for who you are and because you like things, because you're into musical theater, because you're into this movie or you're into this band, don't even sweat it. People who make fun of people for that are losers because you're interesting and you have interests and skills and talents and hobbies. You're getting made fun of. Please, please. I just need to throw it out there because it makes me want to cry
Mm-hmm.
when I think of myself when I was younger being made fun of for like interests. Like, I don't know. If you're being bullied, trust me, everyone who ever said a mean thing to me in high school is a loser now. Is a loser. I wish I could put their photos on the screen so you can see how they ended up.
Let's do it.
They are losers. And so trust me, if you are being bullied, ooh, girl, karma's coming for them. Karma is coming. And you're going to be living your life. You're going to be beautiful and fun. And you're going to have your friends and your family and people who appreciate you. And they're going to be off somewhere doing whatever. Like, I don't know.
I think another thing to add is that like bullies innately, they're sad people who have things that they haven't dealt with, and they're going to find a therapist later in life that's going to help them talk through why they are this way. And here's a message to anyone who thinks that they're like setting themselves apart or being like, I don't know, like exclusive or like they look cooler for bullying. All you're doing is telling everybody around you that you're an insecure person.
Exactly.
So Do your thing. If you want to let every single person in your vicinity know that you're an insecure person, you're not going to be successful,
And that you're ugly.
like, I think something that needs to be said is that, like, there's always this like movie rendition of bullying where this bully has like this big posse of friends. All that they're doing is they're trying to save face for themselves. Ultimately, that whole posse is going to disappear, and then it's going to be the bully alone, and they're going to realize all the bad things that they've done are starting to catch up with them. This is where karma comes into play. Okay. And I think the thing is, if you're someone who's out bullying, you're not out of time to change. You can be a better person. You don't have to try to bring people down because you're at a lower level than they are. You're just a sad person, and it's okay. I've been a sad person. I have mistreated because I knew I was going through something that I hadn't dealt with. But what you come to realize is that you feel a lot better for a lot longer if you manage those problems and all that trauma that you might have head on and act like a goddamn adult and stop trying to take it out on everybody else, because it's short-lived satisfaction and it's gonna come back to bite you in the ass.
Also, just good people and nice people are prettier. Like,
It's true.
I don't know. I feel like when you're a good person, it radiates off of you. You have good energy and it comes back to you. Simple as that. I think we should move on to mental health, perhaps.
Oh boy, I'm ready.
We could start off simple, like advice for depression and anxiety.
My best piece of advice is, if you're feeling like not yourself, or you feel like everything around you is just starting to close in, you don't have control, you feel lost, therapy is an absolutely beautiful thing that everyone on every walk of life can benefit from.
Yeah.
It's an absolutely beautiful thing that I didn't start until much later in life, and I wish I had started significantly sooner. It is an absolutely beautiful way for you to take everything that's up here, get it out and about, talk it through with a professional who knows the right things to say and how to talk you through things, and just leave it at the therapy call.
Yeah, therapy is definitely game changing. I've been in therapy since I was 17, so I'm
Mhm.
very pro therapy. I think another thing that is really important and another very much a practice thing, because it takes forever to really get to this place, is don't compare yourself to other people. A
True.
breeding ground for depression and anxiety, at least for me in my experience, is thinking that like other people have it better. Other people are more successful or more fun or more beautiful or more smart or like all that thing. And then it
Mhm.
just makes me not feel good about myself.
Mhm.
And it's never worth it. I think the most important lesson I ever learned is that you're never in competition with anybody else. Just because someone else is beautiful, smart, successful, funny, whatever, doesn't mean that you are not beautiful, successful, smart, funny, all that, because there is enough of that to go around.
Mhm.
So don't look on social media and be like, oh, this person has this, this, and this.
Mhm.
One, you've heard it a million times, but it's true. Social media is a highlight reel.
Mhm.
Rarely do people go on social media and share the bad parts of their life. I certainly don't.
Mm.
Also, do you know how edited social media is?
It's true.
Like these days, editing is so subtle that like you can't even notice
Yeah.
sometimes. People don't look like that. I've like, there are so many times where like Tyler will show me someone or whatever and be like, that's a crazy edit job. And you'll be like, what? And I'm like, literally look, and then I'll zoom in and the brick will be like squiggled
It's
behind the
straight up
person.
Facetune. It's
Anyway,
crazy.
comparison, I think, is a huge driver for mental health
Mhm.
and something that just keep it in check. Even if you can't quite control it yet, notice it when it
Yeah.
comes up. It's like, am I feeling anxious because I'm comparing myself? Am I
Mhm.
feeling depressed because I don't feel good enough? Why don't I feel good enough? Like, things like that. And also just listen to yourself. If you
Yeah.
need a day or two to kind of disconnect and rot, even, like
Mhm.
take that day, take that self care, and then, start reincorporating. Make sure you're eating, make sure you're still drinking water, whatever you can put together.
Mhm.
These little things make a huge difference. Even if you can't bear to do it, get up and force yourself to take a shower.
Yep.
Like little things like that, I'm telling you, make like the world of a difference. And that with therapy and for both of us, medication has
Mhm.
helped greatly. Know that nothing's permanent. Every
Yeah.
feeling passes. Let yourself feel it, feel through it. The only
Mhm.
way out is through. So just
100%.
feel it and go through it and it'll go away, you know?
Yeah. And I feel like something that I want to add in, because the male relationship with mental health has this huge stigma of like, if you deal with mental health, you're weak. And I'm here to let you know, having mental health, regardless what gender you are, it does not make you weak. It makes you a human being. Okay. And I want to speak from the background of like a family that isn't the most like aware of mental health and therapy and all this. Like, that's something that can affect the way that somebody views their own mental health and how they can combat it. Like, there are families across the globe that have no belief in therapy. And I'm not here to tell them that they're wrong or right, but I am here to tell them that like, it can help people who need it. And if you think you need it, you are not weak for asking for help.
And there are options. There are affordable options for you. There are so many different hotlines and phone numbers. Speaking of which, if you're really struggling with feelings of, staying alive and stuff like that, please reach out, call someone. There are hotlines. The National S Prevention Hotline has been amazing for so many people. Get your help because it does get better and you deserve to be here. You are so loved by everyone. Even if it doesn't feel that way, you will be missed so greatly. So please do not ever think for a second that you don't deserve to be here. You are so loved. We love you and we want you to be here. It gets better. Trust me.
Yeah.
Someone I know very close to me had an incident where they didn't want to be around anymore and tried and unsuccessfully, thankfully, and now has the most beautiful, amazing, happy, wonderful life that they would not have had if they had successfully done so. And that person says all the time that they had a second chance at life. It makes me like emotional thinking about it, that they had a second chance at life and they are so thankful that they did because of all the beautiful things that have happened to them since then. We're talking beautiful relationship, job, degrees, friends, passion projects. So many things happened in this person's life since that day. It is such a blessing that they're still here and they're so thankful that they're still here, and you will be too.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Like what you said with like feelings passing, and one thing that like even we've talked about in moments where we're feeling really anxious, like one of the first things that I say if Rania's having a moment where she's feeling anxious and vice versa is like, mental health is like waves. These feelings come and they go. And when they leave, you're going to forget what it feels like. And then when they come back, you're going to be like, ah, damn. But it comes and it goes.
Just cry.
Just cry it out, literally.
I am such a crier.
Me too, actually.
Cry. Do you know how good it feels to just cry?
Yeah.
And get it out?
And the thing is, it's like, again, young men who are watching this, young men, older men, I don't care. You're not weak for crying. Never. You're not. And you're going to feel so much better after. You're going to be able to get on with your day. You can't suppress. It will never work out. Okay? That will not fix anything. All it does is it puts a Band-Aid on a bullet wound so that it can come out sometime in the future significantly worse, in a really weird way. Do yourself a favor. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to be mentally calm, right? Just do yourself that favor. Work through the emotion. Rania could not have said it better. Like, you're not going to get around it. You're going to go through it. If you get around it, that's going to be you suppressing it, putting it off till something else until you get around it later.
It's still there.
It's still going to be there.
Yeah.
So it's like you just gotta invest in yourself in the same way that you would invest in a company, in the same way that you would invest in a friendship, because you need to be your own friend as well.
Another question that I did like was tips for relationships following parental issues, which I think is very relatable because I think the number one thing that affects a relationship is the way you grew up.
100%. I couldn't agree more.
And I can only speak for myself because we've had different situations, but my situation, what has helped me greatly is inner child healing. I know that sounds a little woo-woo for some people, but I'm telling you, inner child healing is like the most wonderful thing. Getting to the root of what it is that affects you. Me, it was very much an expectation of being perfect. It's called the curse of the gifted child. It's just the expectation of being perfect all the time and being the one that takes care of others and never allowing myself to need things or have feelings or have needs, and having to navigate that in a relationship has proven to be incredibly difficult in past relationships where I end up having an anxious attachment style or even an anxious avoidant attachment style, which is the
Mm-hmm.
worst kind. Where you don't you think that if you're not perfect, you're not lovable.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a mess. And then like if someone isn't, 100% showing how much they love you, you're like, whoa, wait, did I do something wrong?
I've been there, yeah.
And so the inner child healing helped me realize where that started
Mm-hmm.
and how I can nurture that part of myself on my own
Mm-hmm.
so that I don't need to seek it in a relationship. Like you're not going to fix your parents by fixing your relationship. Your partner is not your parents. And projecting your issues with your parents onto your partner is not going to fix your relationship with your parents, and it's definitely not going to fix your relationship with your partner. So you have to heal that within yourself because again, you can't control other people. You can't control your parents, you can't control your partner, you can control you.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure you heal through that on your own,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's through inner child healing or post traumatic stress therapy. There are so many therapies for that,
Mm-hmm.
or even just like a journaling at times
Yeah.
too, like understanding what the issue is. I don't know. I think it's, yeah, just healing that within yourself so that you don't project it, you
Yeah.
know?
I think that
And it's
like
a journey.
it's absolutely a journey. I think that what not enough people talk about is the fact that like the relationships you grow up around, no relationship is absolutely perfect. But I think what we don't take into consideration enough is the fact that like all of these relationships, your parents, the adults around you when you're a kid, you're allowed to take things that you like and bring them into future relationships, but you're also allowed to get rid of the things that you didn't like. Like I can think of a bunch of things that I saw when I was younger that I have no interest in bringing into my relationship as an adult. And I think the thing is that that doesn't necessarily mean that one person like destroyed your outlook on relationships or you're doomed because something bad might have happened in your life, but it gives you this opportunity to look at things at a third person perspective
Yeah.
where you can look back and you can say like, all right, now that I'm a little older, I can see that what I saw at that age was wrong. And I don't like the way that it felt when I watched it. I don't like the effect that it had on the people that I was watching it happen to. You have the choice to say, like, that was not right and learn from it, And Ranya's 100% right. You're not going to change your parents,
Right.
They are in their ways. And one thing that I talked about in therapy a lot was my relationship
like
there.
dating someone that is like your parents is not gonna fix that. Like,
It's
you know
true.
what I mean? Like, find something better for you.
It's true. And I think that like the biggest thing about getting older is that things get more difficult. Sure. You, however, become more equipped to handle difficult things. But when it comes to relationships, you're going to be in relationships with people who don't treat you right. You're going to be in relationships where your heart might not be where it needs to be, and you might incidentally mistreat someone because you're finding yourself in a situation where you don't know how to manage getting out of a relationship you don't want to be in. And that might rear its ugly head. But the beautiful thing about getting a little older and getting a little wiser is that you're able to look back at the things that you saw in other relationships and just cut the bad fruit off the tree. You get to take the things that you love. There are a million things I saw with my family that I loved and that I take into what I do now in our relationship.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of things that I'm like, you know what? That can be your thing.
Yeah.
And it's kind of beautiful.
And yeah, it's just about understanding it, seeing it from a third party perspective, you know?
Yeah, you got to just give yourself the time and understanding to look at something like all these experiences ultimately are going to piece together the puzzle that will be you as a human and you as an adult. And once you're at that point, you look at things from a very, very different lens. Like my outlook on relationships now is understandably significantly different than it was when I was in high school or college. And I think that part of the reason why I'm so excited for the continuation of our relationship and engagement and marriage and all this is that like we get to continue on all the good stuff. All the good things that we love in our relationship, we get to keep doing them for as long as we want.
Right. Like, I think that's what's funny is when we talk about, like, I don't know, you have this moment because, like, I'm 29 and he's 28, where it's like, oh man, it would have been cool if we knew each other when we were younger.
I've said that a lot.
You've said that. And I'm like, no, it would not have been. I was a completely different human being. One, this would not have worked out. Two, like, I don't know. I like that you know this version of me.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I think, I don't even know if that's related to anything. It's just something I wanted to say, that I think we found each other at the perfect time after we have been through the experiences that we needed to go through to get to this point. Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
I so deeply believe that the universe presents you with things when you're ready. So I think we were presented with each other when we were ready to have each other, because I don't know, I was so different. I'm not this person that's sitting here that even 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And so I'm so happy with who I am now, and I want you to be with this version of me. And like, I feel like this is the version of each of us that is going to contribute to a happy future together. Because I don't know if I could say that about 25-year-old me, 24-year-old me. You know?
Yeah. And in fairness, like it's been a little while since I've said that. Like, I wish I could, that we met earlier. And I think that desire, or that like curiosity of like, I wish we had met when we were younger, I think that just comes from a sense of like, I want to know like everything about you. And I wish I could say, like, it feels like we've been together for like 30 years, but just because we're so like, comfortable and we're so like in touch with each other, that it feels unrealistic that it's been like just over a year that we've known each other.
Yeah.
So I think that back when I was saying like, oh, I wish we had met sooner, I think that's just so that I could have had the opportunity to say that I've known you for longer.
It's true.
Because I'm so proud to be able to say that I have someone like you in my life, and I wish I could have said that sooner.
I agree.
It's kind of a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it is, of course. Oh my God, yeah. I think I'm just like in that place where I'm like in a reflecting mode, because like I said, I'm turning 30 next month, so I'm like reflecting on my 20s.
Of course.
And I even said it in the car yesterday that I was like, I just cannot believe how much I've changed in the past decade.
But it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Kylie asked if we want to have kids.
Yeah.
Yes, I want to have 10.
Every man always says that, which is so funny. They're like, I want to have 10 kids. It's like, okay, who's going to give birth to them? You want me to push out 10?
Can we do
We're having 3.
Can we do a podcast? You get one of those pad things that like replicates period pains.
Oh yeah, that's
that would be fun. Can we do that? This is the last question, and we were writing down these questions, and so many of them, as you now know, so many of them were like so serious and so deep. But we wrote this one down, and we're like, we'll throw this in after we talk about anxiety and depression. And here we are, an hour and 20 minutes in. But we're gonna leave you with something happy, and probably a fight between Rania and I.
Okay, this is a very important question. What is your favorite way to eat a potato?
Okay, here's my hot take. I think that the best fry is a waffle fry.
Best way to eat a potato.
I think the best way to eat a potato is fried in waffle shape. I think waffle fries...
I don't think that's a hot take.
Here's the hot take. Sweet potato waffle fries are elite. They're elite, and here's the trick. If you've never been to a place called Duck Fat, it's called Duck Fat, it's in Portland, Maine, and they use duck fat to fry
which sounds
things,
disgusting, but
which
it's
sounds
actually
bad,
so good.
But it's so friggin' good,
Also,
and they make these sweet potato waffle fries.
I don't think you understand what a hot take is. You come in saying the most delicious thing ever. You're like, I have a hot take. Sweet potato waffle fries are delicious. Well, what if a hot take is like, I have a hot take. Eating a potato raw like an apple is the best way. That's a hot take.
Don't knock it till you tried it. My answer to this, sweet potato waffle fry from Duck Fat in Portland, Maine. Duck Fat, if you're watching this, I love you.
I think my favorite way to eat a potato is either like any French fry, like any French fry, or like Greek lemon potato. That's my answer.
That's such a good answer. Damn, the Greek lemon potatoes.
Yeah, my mom makes like such good.
She makes crazy good food.
I've never eaten so many potatoes. Like when she makes potatoes, it's like I've never eaten food before.
Okay, your job right now, take that last question. I want the comments to be absolutely stuffed with a debate on the best way to eat a potato. And if somebody says eat it raw like an apple, I will block you. No, I won't. Why would I block? No, I'm not gonna block you.
I
But
thought we established like a non-judgmental space.
yes, of course, no judgment here. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for sitting through. It was actually probably pretty healthy for a lot of people that watched this. Thank you for joining another
I hope
episode.
I was helpful. I'm not feeling the best.
Rania's so sick, and if she comes on again, better.
I'll probably have like better, more thought out, and like sensitive answers.
No,
I
you
think
did
I'm
amazing.
just so not feeling good that I'm like, so I'm sorry if none of that was helpful. It is my fault, and I will be better.
You did an
next
amazing
time, I
job.
promise.
You did an absolutely amazing job. I think everything that you said was perfect. We love you.
Yeah, and let us know if you want to do a different one. Actually, could be fun to do an episode on like careers and like helping
Let us know.
people find kind of their way in career, like maybe a topic or something. So
If you want Rania to come back, put in the comments. We love you so very much. We'll see you again on episode 11 of the Nobody Asked for This podcast. Rania, who asked for this podcast? No one, not a single person. Ladies and gentlemen, be good to each other. We'll see you soon.